I'm Sarah Wilson, 27 years old. 15 years ago, my sister Lauren stood on the roof outside my bedroom window, put both hands on my shoulders, and pushed me into a lie that almost buried me alive. For years, everyone called it my photography accident. My parents said I had climbed onto the roof to take pictures, slipped on loose shingles, and fell 2 stories onto the stone patio below. They repeated that story to the police, to the hospital, to our neighbors, and eventually to themselves. But the X-rays told a different story. They showed injuries that didn't match a simple fall. They showed what my family had tried so hard to hide. Before I tell you how the truth finally came out, please take a moment to like and subscribe, but only if this story truly resonates with you. And drop your location in the comments. I want to know where you're watching from, because stories like mine happen behind beautiful doors in every city. Let me take you back to the beginning. I grew up in an affluent suburb outside Boston, in a Tudor-style house with trimmed hedges, polished windows, and family portraits that looked like they belonged in a magazine. My father, Dr. Thomas Wilson, was a respected neurosurgeon at Massachusetts General Hospital. My mother, Diane Wilson, was a socialite who organized charity galas, hosted neighborhood brunches, and treated public image like a religion. From the outside, we were perfect. Inside, we were assigned roles. Lauren, my older sister by 2 years, was the golden child. Straight A's, swim team captain, debate champion, violin player, Yale hopeful. My parents didn't just love her, they displayed her. Tyler, my younger brother, was the charming baby of the family. If he broke a rule, it was funny. If he failed a test, he was finding his path. And then there was me, Sarah, the middle child. Average grades, average brown hair, average face, average everything. I wasn't bad enough to be a problem, or good enough to be celebrated. I existed in the empty space between Lauren's trophies and Tyler's dimples. There's a difference between being forgotten and never being seen in the first place. I learned that difference at our Sunday dinners. My mother would arrange the table like a magazine shoot. Father at the head, mother at the other end, Lauren glowing beside him, Tyler making everyone laugh. Me sitting there, waiting for somebody to ask one real question about my life. No one did. The only place I felt real was behind a camera. In 8th grade, my art teacher lent me an old Nikon, and suddenly I had a way to show the world as I actually saw it. Cracked sidewalks, empty playgrounds, rusted gates, shadows between buildings, imperfect things that still had beauty. My parents called photography a hobby. For me, it was oxygen. When I was 14, I entered a local youth photography contest with a black and white series called Invisible Middle. One photo showed an empty chair at a dining table. Another showed the space between 2 perfect houses. I won first place. For one dinner, just one, my parents talked about me. Father said a colleague's daughter had gone to a prestigious art program. Mother mentioned hosting a small reception for my photos. I sat there with my hands in my lap, hardly breathing, because for the first time in years, I felt visible. Then Lauren pushed her vegetables around her plate and said, "It's just a local contest, not exactly Yale material." The air changed. Mother told her to be supportive, but lightly, like Lauren had spilled water instead of cutting me open. Father cleared his throat and said photography wasn't practical. Within 2 minutes, the conversation returned to Lauren's upcoming swim meet. My moment was over, but I saw Lauren's face. Not anger, relief. That was the first time I understood that attention in our family was treated like a limited resource. If I received even 5 minutes of it, Lauren felt robbed. By the time Lauren was 18 and I was 16, the pressure inside our house had become unbearable. Yale applications were due. Early admission results were coming in December. Lauren slept less, trained harder, studied longer, and started looking like a girl trying to outrun a shadow only she could see. One morning, I saw an orange prescription bottle disappear into her pocket. It had someone else's name on it. A week later, I overheard my parents arguing with her in Father's study. "A 92 on physics is unacceptable," Father said coldly. "I'm trying," Lauren whispered. "I barely sleep." Mother said, "Sarah mentioned seeing you at the mall last weekend." I froze outside the door. I had never said that. I hadn't even seen Lauren that weekend. My parents were using my name to control her, turning us into enemies without my consent. The first time Lauren hurt me, I was carrying laundry downstairs. She appeared at the top of the basement steps. I felt a hard shove between my shoulders, and then the world flipped. I landed on concrete with a sprained wrist and pain shooting up my arm. Lauren ran down after me. "Oh my God, Sarah, you tripped. Are you okay?" When my parents appeared, Lauren answered before I could. "She fell. I tried to catch her." I looked at her. She looked back with a warning in her eyes. So I said nothing. 2 weeks later, I found my photography portfolio destroyed. Water had been poured over every print. My memory card was gone. I stormed into Lauren's room holding the ruined folder. "Did you do this?" She looked up from her Yale essays and smiled like she had been waiting. "You think anyone cares about your stupid pictures?" she said. "You're nothing in this family. I'm the one with real talent." Months of work were gone. My future had been soaked, bent, and left on my bed like trash. I went to my bedroom, climbed out onto the small roof below my window, and sat there with my knees pulled to my chest. It was my secret place, the only spot in that house where I could breathe. Then Lauren appeared at the window. "Can we talk?" I should have gone inside. Instead, I stayed. At first, she sounded sorry. She said she was stressed. She said the pressure was too much. She pulled out the orange prescription bottle and admitted she was taking stimulants to keep up. "You need help," I told her. "Not pills." Her expression hardened. "You don't understand," she said. "They don't expect anything from you. I'm the one carrying this family. That's not my fault." "No," she said quietly. "But you're becoming a problem." I remember the wind, the gray sky, the smell of wet leaves from the yard below. Then her hands hit my shoulders. There was one suspended second where I understood exactly what was happening. Then I fell. The impact was not like in movies. There was no dramatic scream, just a horrible cracking sound inside my own body. The stone patio slammed into me. My breath vanished. Pain exploded through my ribs, my hip, my chest. I saw Lauren's face above me, pale and terrified. Then everything blurred. I woke up in the hospital with broken ribs, a punctured lung, a fractured pelvis, a concussion, and bruises covering my body. My parents stood beside my bed, not like protectors, but like managers of a crisis. Father had already spoken to the police. The official story was ready. Sarah climbed out to take photos. Sarah slipped. Sarah fell. My mother cried whenever nurses entered the room. My father used his medical authority to control every conversation. Lauren sat at my bedside with red eyes and a trembling mouth, playing the traumatized sister who had watched me fall. When a police officer asked me what happened, I tried to speak. Mother touched my hand too tightly. "She has a concussion," she said. "She's confused." Later, Father closed the hospital door and sat beside me. "It wasn't an accident," I whispered. Lauren pushed me. He didn't look shocked. That hurt more than anything. He already knew. "Lauren's future cannot be destroyed by one emotional moment," he said. "Yale is next month. This family has worked too hard. She tried to kill me." "Don't be dramatic, Sarah." I stared at him. My father, the man who saved strangers' lives every week, was asking me to sacrifice mine for Lauren's reputation. Mother came the next morning with flowers and a smile that looked rehearsed. "We've been thinking," she said. "Maybe photography should stay a hobby. After something like this, pre-med would be safer, more stable." They weren't just covering up the truth. They were trying to use my broken body to take my future too. The only person who believed me was Mia Castillo, my best friend. She snuck into my hospital room when my parents were gone and handed me my camera. "I found it in the bushes," she whispered. "Memory card still inside." That mattered, because my parents had said I was holding the camera when I fell. I wasn't. The camera proved part of their story was false. Then came Mrs. Patel, a hospital social worker my parents had tried twice to reschedule. She spoke gently, but her eyes missed nothing. "Sarah," she said, "sometimes people are pressured to repeat stories that don't feel true." I said, "I fell, but I cried when I said it." She left her card on my table. "If you ever need to talk privately, call me." For 2 months after I came home, I lived like a prisoner. My bedroom had been redecorated while I was in the hospital. My photography posters were gone. Medical brochures sat on my desk. Father controlled my appointments. Mother controlled visitors. Lauren left for Yale after early acceptance, stepping over the ruins she had made. Before she left, I confronted her. "How can you just go?" She zipped her suitcase. Because it's over, she said. No one will believe you. And for a while, she was right. I started documenting everything anyway. Photos of bruises, voice notes of memories, screenshots of messages, dates of appointments, names of doctors, pain levels, medication schedules, every little piece of reality they tried to erase. That was the first time I understood something important. The truth isn't revenge. It's just a mirror. In January, while my parents were at a charity gala, I searched Lauren's room. Hidden in a drawer, I found 3 prescription bottles with 3 different names: Adderall, Ritalin, Modafinil. I photographed all of them. Then, during spring break, I found her journal. One entry changed everything. Problem solved. Parents completely on board with the accident story. Yale interviewer sympathized about my traumatic experience watching Sarah fall. Sometimes solutions require decisive action. I couldn't breathe. My chest tightened. My vision narrowed. Mother found me collapsed in the hallway and rushed me to the emergency room, worried about a physical setback. That mistake saved me. The attending physician that night was Dr. Elena Rivera. She didn't know my father personally. She wasn't part of his circle. She ordered new x-rays and compared them with my original scans. I watched her face change. Professional concern became suspicion. She asked my mother to leave the room. Mother objected. Dr. Rivera said, "Sarah is over 16. I need to speak with her privately." When the door closed, Dr. Rivera turned to me. "Your injuries don't fully match the story in your chart," she said. "A simple slip usually creates a different pattern. Some of these bruises suggest force before the fall." I stared at her. For months, everyone had told me my truth was confusion, trauma, drama. Now the x-rays were speaking for me. Dr. Rivera said, "Sarah, did someone push you?" I broke. Not loudly, not dramatically. I just whispered, "Yes." Within 48 hours, everything my parents built began collapsing. Mrs. Patel came back. A child protection investigator arrived. The police reopened the report. Mia handed over my camera. I gave them the journal photos, the prescription bottle photos, my voice notes, and my documentation. Lauren denied it at first. My parents denied everything. Father said I was unstable. Mother said I was confused. Lauren said I was jealous. Then investigators showed them the journal entry. Silence. That silence was the first honest thing my family had given me in years. Lauren eventually admitted there had been an argument, then an accidental shove. Then, under pressure from evidence, the truth came out piece by piece. She had destroyed my portfolio. She had pushed me on the basement stairs. She had pushed me off the roof. My parents had suspected the truth almost immediately and covered it up to protect her Yale future and father's reputation. Lauren's Yale admission was rescinded. She received probation, mandatory psychiatric treatment, and substance abuse counseling because of her age and lack of previous charges. My parents faced charges for obstruction and failure to report. Father's hospital privileges were reviewed. Mother's social circle disappeared almost overnight. The family that worshipped reputation became known for the thing they had tried hardest to hide. I didn't celebrate. I moved into the small apartment above Mia's family restaurant while the case unfolded. Her mother cooked for me every night and once told me, "Family is who protects you, not who shares your blood." I never forgot that. With help from Mrs. Patel and an advocacy program, I rebuilt my portfolio and applied to Rhode Island School of Design. This time, no one intercepted my applications. I received a scholarship. My first major photography series was called The X-Rays Spoke Louder. It placed medical images beside family portraits, showing the difference between what people present and what they hide. Tyler, my younger brother, reached out 3 months after everything came out. He was only 14, confused and angry. "I just want someone to tell me the truth," he said. So I did. Not to poison him against anyone, but because lies had already poisoned enough of our family. Lauren wrote to me 6 months into treatment. Her letter did not ask for forgiveness. That mattered. She wrote, "I thought I was protecting my future by removing obstacles. I understand now that I almost ended your life. Nothing justifies that." I didn't forgive her that day. Sorry is a word. It's a starting place, not a finish line. My parents tried to reconcile too, but only on their terms. They wanted private apologies and public silence. They wanted family therapy, but only if the story became softer. They wanted me back under the same polished portrait frame that had almost buried me. Father said, "We all made mistakes." I said, "No. Some things aren't mistakes. They're choices." Mother cried. "We only wanted what was best for everyone." I looked at her and said, "No. You wanted what looked best to everyone. There's a difference." That was the last time I sat in a room with both of them. Today, I'm still healing. My scars faded, but some nights I still wake up feeling the roof disappear beneath me. Trauma doesn't vanish just because the truth comes out, but it does change when people finally stop calling it a lie. I built a life with people who don't require me to perform perfection to be loved. Mia is still my best friend. Tyler and I talk every week. My photography now focuses on hidden realities, family violence, institutional silence, and the quiet courage of people who survive things no one saw. If you are watching this and you've been the invisible child, the scapegoat, the one everyone expected to stay quiet, I need you to hear me. Your worth is not determined by whether your family sees it. You don't owe forgiveness on someone else's timeline. Boundaries are not revenge. They are protection, and silence often protects the wrong people. My parents wanted a perfect family portrait. What they got was an X-ray, something that showed every fracture underneath the surface. For years, I thought the fall broke me. But the truth is, the fall exposed what was already broken. And once I saw it clearly, I stopped trying to fit inside a family that only loved the version of me they could control. Did I get revenge? No. I got something better. Freedom. The freedom to tell the truth. The freedom to choose my own future. The freedom to build a family where love doesn't come with conditions, where safety matters more than reputation, and where no one has to bleed quietly to keep a perfect picture intact. If this story resonated with you, drop a comment, tell me your story, or just let me know you're here. Because sometimes the first step toward healing is realizing you were never as alone as they made you feel. And remember this, the truth may be buried for years, but sooner or later, it finds a way to show up on the X-ray.